and they spend without any level of control. So you will find that a facility has received money, rather than buy medicine, they have maybe prioritized building a gate. And that is why there was a special purpose account created, so that when money is sent to the facility account, it is sent with an AIE. And we have formed an AIE committee that has the CC for health, the chief officer for health, and the facility in charge, so that they discuss and agree on what are the priorities. And for example, they've said priority number 1 is you must buy pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals before you are allowed to invest in firewood or anything else at the facility level. So it is exercising some level of control, but ensuring that the facilities have their resources to expend. So, Chairman, on this particular FIF, we are concluding on amending the law. We have attached the national law so that we can proceed, so that the breach is not noted. But all of this is for, there is no money from health that is not spent on health.
So, Governor, through the chair, that alignment, will it happen in all the counties, or is it just in Homa Bay?
This is what Homa Bay is doing. And the auditor mentioned, that many of the other counties are also working on their own laws to align it to the national law.
Where there is conflict between national and county legislation, national legislation is the one that applies. Now, before we get lost in the policy conversation, the numbers are not tying. Auditor General, you are saying the county collected 1.6 billion towards health facilities improvement. And out of these 950, the numbers, because the policy issues, I think, are quite clear. The county does not refer to 1.6, the county says they collected 915. So which is which? That irregularity in legislation, the numbers are flowing as they ought to be. You have said the county collected 1.6 billion from 24 health facilities. Is that the position?
Yes, yeah.
So, Governor, is that the position, that you collected 1.6 billion from 24 health facilities? Because if you collected 1.6 billion, then what ought to have been shared between this 20% and the rest of the facilities, the base should be 1.6 billion, not 900 million. So let's make sure the numbers flow. Was the collection 1.6 billion?
My understanding is, and the auditor can correct if this is not the understanding, is 1.6 billion was the claims made by the facilities.
Auditor, please clarify.
But out of this, they transfer 915 to the special.
No, just leave it there. So you confirm as the auditor that the facilities collected 1.6 billion.
Yes.
Okay, so
Supposed to collect.
Collected. You know, we are talking of
1.6 billion.
24 facilities.
So what was supposed to, even with this problematic law, what should have gone back to facilities should have been 80% of 1.6 billion.
Which is 915.
Which is 915. But the governor's response indicates that it was 915 collected. There's a mismatch there.
You know, in fact, if your math is right, that 915 is 80% of 1.6, then they actually collected 1.6.
Yeah, but then the gap between 1.6
950 and then 687.
That's over 700 million shillings. That can be 80%, Chair.
There's a mix. The numbers are not adding up. So let's agree on the numbers.
Maybe Chair, just I can clarify. Yeah?
Yes.
When we audit these facilities, of course, I said 24 facilities collected 1.6. Out of this 1.6, because of the timing difference, they transferred 915 to the special purpose account. So ideally, the entity needs to transfer 900 again from the special purpose account to the entities, but they retain the 20% of and above. So you realize what has been transferred is 687 from the special purpose account instead of 915. So the difference is 228. They could have ought to retain 183 million if they use that law. So the difference between 183 and 228 is 45 million, which audit queried again. But that 45 million again was transferred later on, and there was an evidence for that support. So there is the total amount that the entity has collected, facilities.
Auditor General, what is 1.616 billion? What is that? Is that cash collected from the facilities?
It's money that hits the accounts of the hospitals. Yes.
So, Governor, you collected 1.6 billion from hospitals. That's a fact.
You know, from the entities themselves, which you audit, you know, we also audit these facilities.
Yes.
If you do the cumulative, that's how they collected.
But
you have a schedule, auditor.
Yes, there is a schedule when we do the audit.
yes, so the Governor is the collector and the receiver. Did you receive 1.6 billion from the facilities?
I think what the auditor is clarifying is what he found at the facilities was that they had collected 1.6 billion. What we are handling from the purposes of FIF is what facilities then transferred to the special purpose account, which is 915. So from that, the auditor indicated that he needed us to transfer back the entire 915, but we retained the 20% as per the law.
Maybe for us to understand, what happens to the 700 million between the 1.6 and 915 million?
Now, Chairman, when we look now at the audit of the entities, when we go to the PIC, then we now compare with the facilities, what did you receive and what didn't you send to the SPA account? Because from what the Auditor General has raised, there might be some money that facilities have received, but because of time or whatever difference, they have not transferred it to the SPA account. So we, from this angle of FIF, have no visibility of it.
No, the percentage is so huge, it's material. If it was a few millions, then you could talk of timing differences. There's a gap of 700. So is it indicative of deduction at source? Expenditure at source without first remitting the money to the relevant funds? That's 700 million.
One could be, but what the auditor has said that the facilities had received from his point the money, because I would have imagined that these would be claims they have. What he said, facilities themselves had not sent to the special purpose account.
No, I'm asking this question just to understand that process, because I would expect that if it was 1.6 collected and you have audited the financial statements for the facilities, then what would be transferred to the special purpose account cumulatively should be close to the 1.6. Which is 80%. Which is 80%. I'm struggling to understand why there's that gap.
I thought it should be the entire 1.6.
Yeah.
Then it is transferred.
Then it is sent back.
So that's where auditor should tell us, because a simple understanding means 1.6 should hit the county account.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they return 80%.
80%
Yeah.
back to the facilities.
Yes. So we have not had, I have not received that explanation properly from the auditor.
I don't think it's the auditors, it's the entities. It's the entity's explanation.
Because they should agree with the entity that it's 1.6.
Yeah.
Then we do the maths now.
So does it mean 700 million was spent at source? If the governor can clarify that, does it mean 700 million was spent at source because you have the you have chief officer in charge of health services. They should be, they are the accounting officers and departmental heads. So out of this 1.6, and I don't think OAG will go and come up with 1.6 billion without going through the schedule of collections within those 24 facilities.
But
so
Chair,
between 1.6 billion and 915 million, the difference of 700 million, was it spent
Chair,
at
you know,
source?
Chair,
Okay,
it's the same auditor who audits those hospitals. He should be able to tell us, was the 700 million spent at source? That difference.
Actually, that's what I believe. The initial explanation should actually come from the OAG on the feasibility of the 1.6 billion Kenya shillings.
okay. Let's allow the OAG to advise us.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. When the facilities collect, so let's say may pay the shares based on the arrangement between the special purpose account and the facilities. They are supposed to fund these transfers. So for us, we normally have the cut-off date, which is 30th June. So at the cut-off date of 30th June, you may see the facility has collected, but probably they will have the 5th day of the month for them to transfer the funds. You know, there is what we call a timing difference. So at that point of the cut-off date, we realize the facility has collected 1.6 from their side. But what they have transferred as a cut of that date of that June is 915, 941 to the special purpose account, because they have to transfer funds to the special purpose account.